Hello and welcome back to How to Start a Home Yoga Practice. This is Lauren LaPointe. Thank you so much for being here. In this section, we're looking at how to set up for your home yoga practice. There's lots of different aspects to that. And in this one, we're going to look at creating a space for your home yoga practice. So here are a few things to consider when you're setting up your space. Ideally, your space is quiet without distraction. I know that we can't always have that, so don't worry if you don't have any of these things we're looking at, but just know that these are some things to consider and try to achieve if we can. A wall can be really nice, so a lot of yoga poses use a wall. So if possible, it's not necessary. There have been times when I've had spaces that didn't have walls, so you can do without, but if you can arrange to have a spot to practice that has a wall, that can be really nice. It's nice to have some fresh air, so just be sensitive to the airflow, unless you're practicing hot yoga, of course, in which case you might want to bring in a heater to your room so you can do that. But ideally, you want a space that's not too hot or too cold so that you're just practicing at the right temperature. And in terms of flooring, it's actually better to have hard flooring, like wood floors can be really nice. Some people like to have carpet. One thing about carpet is that over time, it can cause some issues with, like, for example, your wrists. So a hard floor is actually more supportive for your bones. So even though it might not feel as good, it can actually be a nicer, better place to practice. And if you do have sensitivity, you can use blankets and things like that to support if your knees get sensitive, for example, things like that. So if you have a choice, if you have that option, I would lean towards a hard surface for flooring instead of soft. But these are all personal preferences. There's lots of schools of thought. So, you're welcome to explore and try whatever you need to do and find whatever works for you. So really, you just need enough space for practice and any props that you might have. So as you're looking around for a spot to practice in, just keep that in mind. And a place where you can play music or DVDs if you're including that as support in your home practice. So just make sure you have access to those things if you want. But basically, any place where your mat will fit will do. That's really all you need. And actually, we could even take it a step back. And originally yoga was practiced without yoga mats and props and all these luxury items. So really, you don't even need those. But it's nice to practice with a mat in this day and age. So any place where your mat will fit will do just fine. So a lot of people talk about pets when they're talking about a home yoga practice, and I have 4 cats, so I definitely understand. I have cats that like to be involved in everything. So if you have pets, what I have found from my own experience is that if I usually include them in some way, they like that. And as you can see in this picture, I've set up a little cushion for Kitty. They have their own blankets and stuff. I find if they're acknowledged, and then I go back to my practice. If I don't make a big deal about it, they're usually okay. If I get really stressed about it, they sort of react to that. So it's something you can work with. It's going to be different for everyone. You may need to close the door or put your pet in another room, but just know that there's always a way to figure that out. So don't let having pets deter you from having a home yoga practice. It might be something that you need to figure out over time, but there's always a way. And it may be possible for you to find a permanent place to set up your yoga space. That is ideal. I have some friends who have their own yoga rooms, and that's lovely. So maybe you have that option, and that's great. But a temporary space is fine. That's what I have in my home. And, it only takes a moment to roll out your mat. So just know where all your props are, know where you're going to practice, and you'll be just fine. So we're going to have an exercise here. I'd like you to set up your home yoga space. So start to think about where you're going to set up, and if you can, pause this and go and set up your space and start to try it out. See if it's going to work. You might have to try a few different spots and spaces. They might change over time. There might be a place that works well in the morning but not in the evening, or a place that works well in the winter but not in the summer. It's all good. But just go ahead and try to find something that will work. And I'd love to hear about it too. So feel free to chime in There's an ask a question section, but really you can post something there just so we can all see and share where you're practicing. It can be fun to hear about that. So good luck with that. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next section. Thanks again, and take care.